have you looked at your car insurance premium and said, let's review this? But penny wise and pound foolish. It's okay for us to say, you must be saving. I must say to you today, if you take a life cover of 5 million rand, it's fantastic. You're going to be taking care of your family for the rest. Let's start now first. Before I die, can I please enjoy my money? Before I, no. I mean, we're very happy to buy. I know in my culture, in South African, I don't know how many South Africans are here. How many South Africans? No. South Africans, we love funeral plans. Funeral plans. Like if you go to a South African and you sold them a funeral plan, yes, I will take it. Some of us have 10 funeral plans in our accounts. Why? Because we want to be buried properly. But why? Why don't you take all that funeral plans and put it together and have one funeral plan? So let's go back and revisit our lives. Think about it. When you're doing your budget today with your husband or your wife, have you looked at the cell phone accounts that we have that we're spending? How many times we're spending airtime or sending airtime? How much is it costing you? Have you noticed certain banks don't charge you immediately when you send the airtime? There's that big charge that comes at the end of the month that says sundry expenses. What's that sundry expenses for? Buying airtime. So why didn't you just buy a contract? Why didn't you just say, one time I bought 500 Rand airtime instead of 49 Rand? Penny wise and pound foolish. So I can guarantee you, if you can sit down, take that one cup of tea, sit down with, yes, ma'am. So when you're sending airtime, when you're buying airtime on your cell phone and you're sending it to anybody or you're buying it for yourself, each time you buy airtime using your banking app, there's a fee attached to it. You don't see it immediately. You only see it at the end of the month in your bank statement. It'll be your bank charges and then sundry. And sometimes that sundry is equal to 400 Rand, 500 Rand. It's because every time you buy airtime using your banking app, there's a charge for it. It's convenient for you, but if you thought about it and you looked at it and analyzed, how many times have you sent yourself 49 Rand data or 49 Rand airtime? How long does it last? It doesn't. So how many times do you have to send it to yourself? 10 times? 20 times? 10 times 49 is 490 Rand. How many minutes does it give you? Almost nothing. But if you went to Vodacom and took a 490 Rand contract, how much minutes would you have gotten? How much of data would you have gotten? Okay, so that's, yes, ma'am. Yes. Or you must budget and say, right, for this month, I need 500 Rand airtime. So I must buy 500 one time. Not 49. Or sending, that's the other thing. When I see a client for the first time, I always like to ask them for their 3 months bank statements. Because when you're going through the line items in the bank statements and you ask, especially business owners, what's this for? I don't know. It's been going off my account for the last 3 years, but it's a small amount. It's like 99 Rand, 129 Rand. By the time I go to the bank, it's going to take me so long to do it. Do a simple math for me. Who's the mathematicians? 129 times 12 times 3. How much is that?
4,600.
That's how much money you let go down the drain. For 3 years that you didn't query the 129 rand. But when it's in that one bank statement, it's 129 rand. So the attitude, we're coming back to attitude when it comes to your financial planning is, I don't have time to sort out 129 rand debit order, and I'll just leave it. So I would ask you, if you are that 129 rand person that's allowing it, I'll give you my bank account at the end of the session. Just transfer the 129 rand to me, please. Does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Any questions? So yes, ma'am, you have negotiating power. You have negotiating power with your bank. If any of you are going to buy a car or a house or take a credit card or take a loan from a bank, please do yourself a favor. I know sometimes at that point when you're doing it, you're in a rush to do it. I need the car, I need the house, But take a moment and ask yourself, what is the interest rate my bank is charging me? The lady there said to me, she's worried about inflation. Things are going up. How come we're not worried about the interest rate? Because somebody can be charged 14% and somebody can be charged 27% for a 100,000 rand loan. We don't think about it. We don't look at it. We just want the money at that time, or we want the credit card at that time. All those little debts can cause you to have a financial fail. So financial planning. You are planning for your finances, and your finances are there to protect your greatest assets, which is what? For the people that have just joined, what is your greatest financial asset? Yourself. Because if you are not there tomorrow, there is no asset. There's nobody to. So you need to start protecting yourself. Okay, so we spoke about a budget. Who has a problem putting down a budget? Yes, sir. There's a fraud division. By any time you have a problem with your bank and your bank doesn't want to query a charge in your account, you can refer it to the banking ombud, or you can go to the manager of the teller. This is you are just using their facility. Let's be very clear. Most people are just afraid of the banks. It's like they're this big giant who we cannot take on. You are the customer. Have you ever, you know that saying, customer is king? I am the customer. Don't ever walk into the bank thinking that they are doing you a favor. By being there, you are doing them a favor. Okay? And I'm not saying that to be arrogant, whatever, but it's my money, guys. You're just keeping it in this little box. So it's my money. So if somebody is taking 50 rand from my box while you are the security guard, you need to explain to me how you allowed somebody to touch my box while I was not there. It doesn't matter whether it's 50 rand, 100 rand, or 5,000 rand. South African banks have an obligation to their customer. That's what our law is about. To take care of you and to explain to you where that money went. And if they can't explain it to you, they have to give it back to you. Okay. Some of the best, we have electricity back, load shedding, all those things, but one of the best things about South Africa is our laws, guys. We have some of the best laws in the world. Do you realize that? From a financial perspective, our banking laws, our court laws, our legislation is the best in the world. So use it to your advantage. Don't be afraid of them. Now, talking about laws, we are all married, most of us couples. Do we understand marriage laws in South Africa? Because that's also another basis of financial planning, marriage laws. Mm-mm. Have you heard the term married in community of property? Yes. What does that mean? Married in community of property. All that is yours is mine, and all that is mine is yours. My asset is your asset. Your debt is my debt. Your crime is my crime. Whatever you do, husband or wife, you have to discuss it with each other. If you were married in Congo or married anywhere out of this country and came into the country married, our law recognizes you as community of property. Unless, of course, you come with a specific document that says we were married ANC, anti-nuptial. Okay? So with regards to that, if your wife passes away or your husband passes away, don't think that the debt passes away. The debt remains. Okay, we learned in the last 2 years of COVID is that many working men died, and the wives who had fantastic jobs as housewives were still left at home, thinking that, well, my husband paid the bills, he bought the car, we did this, we did that, we have money. And didn't realize that actually the car and the house and all of that is owned by the bank. Guys, businessmen, businesswomen, another thing that with your budget, I want you to take your husband or your wife into the bank and say to the bank, this is my husband, this is my wife, especially if you have a private banker. You know that wonderful thing they give us, private banking, if you earn over an amount and you have that black card and we think we're rich. You know that one? The moment you die, your private banker doesn't care about your wife or your husband. No, you were the client, not the wife, not the husband. When you die, your wife or your husband must deal with the call center, not the private banker. The call center. Because, ma'am, as a marriage is married, you are married in community of property. My debt is your debt. Even if I die, my debt is your debt, you will need to pay it. It's the law. If you have the insurance, great. The insurance will pay the house, and then you can get the house because your debt and your assets, okay? But a lot of times you will find that because we're not reviewing our information all the time, that even if you miss one debit, and this is a very live case I had in the last 2 years, where the person missed one debit of that insurance. The bank says they corresponded with the person's not here, we don't know. So that insurance lapsed, meaning it got cancelled. The person died. The debt needs to be paid. So that's another one of the things we're going to talk about in your financial planning, how we can take care of debt, disease, all those things. Okay. But remember, when you get married in this country without an anti-nuptial agreement, you are married in community of property. Your debt is my debt, including your tax debt. My debt is your debt. So, okay, so yeah, everybody that gets married who doesn't specifically specify the before they get married, before they walk down the aisle and sign the paper, you have to say, we are getting married in community of property, or we are getting married in what we call anti-nuptial agreement, ANC, meaning everything stays yours and everything stays mine. We are separate people. Then we can choose that in the marriage, once we enter into the marriage, we got married on the 10th of September. From the 10th of September till the day we die, everything from then becomes 50-50. Or we can still keep everything separate. Yours is yours, mine is mine. We work together as a family to go forward. Now, I know that culturally that sounds very odd. Most people say it's not it's a white people's thing. We don't do that. No, guys. Think about it logically. If you are going into business, if you're a medical doctor, you're a lawyer, if you have a chance to be sued or liquidated, do you understand liquidation, what liquidation means? Then when you're getting married, and let's teach our children as they're growing up, it is better for us to get married ANC. It's not that we don't love each other, it's not that we're looking to divorce, but it's good to protect our assets separately. So if I marry the head of a big business today, even though what he has is not on my name, but he can put things in my name that then will be protected if she sues him. Do you understand? It's not about saying we don't love each other. That's yesterday's thinking. It's about protecting our children and our assets. Okay, because let's take Kathy and your husband, right? Say your husband was an anesthetist, right? No, Kathy's husband. It's John. Oh, my husband is John. Sorry. He's an anesthetist, right? Kathy and John are married. John operates on me as an anesthetist. They have built a fantastic life together. He works for the government. Kathy is the businesswoman. She got all the tenders. We happy. Just take that scenario, okay? John operated on me, and I sued him for 20 million rand. And the court granted me 20 million rand. And when we went to John's finances, we figured out he works for the government. He doesn't have 20 million rand. Do you know where I'm going next? To Kathy. Does that make sense? Yes. I'm going to Kathy. House, car, bank account, unit trusts, everything, until I can get my 20 million rand. But if Kathy and John were married ANC, I went to John. John doesn't have the money. I can't go anywhere else. I can't touch her. Okay.
Can we still change?
No. No, no. You'll have to get divorced and then remarried and explain to your children why. But you can't. But just in. Yes. Yes. People do it. People are doing it. People are doing it because of the convenience and the protection of their family. It's a business decision. It's not about just, we don't love each other, whatever. It's we realizing now that the two of us, we're going in a place where business is growing, but it's going to affect our future. They divorce and they marry again. And they have a from a community of property to ANC. Okay. So my message, my biggest message for you today, if you don't take anything, if you don't remember anything else I've said today, the next time you want to make a financial decision, sit down and think about it. Think about how it's going to affect you now. Think about how it's going to affect your budget. And think about how it's going to affect your family if you die. You don't want to do a will, but just think about it. Think about it. Is it going to be easy? It's going to be easy to transfer it. Is it going to work? Are they going to forget about it? Trust me, we love taxes in this country. And there's two things in life in South Africa that you can never, ever run away from. Two things, which is death and taxes. Because even if you died today and you haven't done your income tax, I'll still have to do it from your estate. I'll still claim your income tax from your estate if you died today and you didn't submit it. You don't run away from it. So I want to scare you enough to know that let's get your finances in order. Any questions? Okay, so right now it's called debt review, and if you go under debt counseling, you can apply to have your debt reviewed, not written off, but what they do is they send you through debt counseling, and they will try to move all your debt together in one. So we have companies in South Africa right now that buy debt. Okay, so let's just say the company did an analysis on you and said, oh, you owed Standard Bank, you owed Eskom, you owed whatever. Altogether, your debt is 500,000. As a company, I will buy that debt, 500,000, and I will settle all your companies that you've owed, but you will need to pay me a specific amount. Imagine your monthly debt was sitting at 15,000 rand. What we'll do is we'll reduce the installment according to your budget and say, okay, you can pay me 3,000 rand a month. Okay? Until my debt is over. But just remember, you will have to pay that debt. The debt doesn't run away. Your debt, you'll have to pay that debt to the last cent owed. And then for 5 years after that, you can't apply for new debt. In your application forms for whatever, they always ask you, have you applied for debt review? Are you currently under debt review? It doesn't go away from you. It's just a way to get people to be able to manage and settle their debt. Because your debt, if you miss an installment, what happens is we put you on the credit bureau, right? And you know, the other thing is, guys, if you're on the credit bureau, you're thinking that, well, okay, maybe I can't apply for finance. What else does the credit bureau do? What other things are affected by the fact that you are on the credit bureau? Do you know? Do you know if you go and apply to OUTsurance for car insurance, you bought a car, and you apply for car insurance, do you know what OUTsurance does? Puts your profile through the credit bureau. And do you know we give you a premium based on the fact that you're on the credit bureau? So we can charge you higher because you're on the credit bureau. You're a risk. You're not paying your debt, that's why you're on the credit bureau. So you could possibly be risky with your car, so we'll give you a higher premium. Do you realize that? If you pay your telecom account, it's supposed to be due on the 1st of the month, and you are regularly paying it on the 5th of the month. You're a bad debt person. You're on the credit bureau.
But what if it is on the debit?
Yes, but you must know that when you're entering into a contract, you are agreeing to pay your debt on a specific day. If you are paying it late, whether it's by debit order, cash, or whatever, you are regarded as a late payer, which means you are a risk. So when you apply for further finance, we give you a rating, and one of the rating categories is this person a late payer? Is it a risk? And we give you a higher premium if your score is lower. Yes, Kathy?
For someone who never gets a debt, and I go to apply for assurance for the car.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a car. This is my first time.
Mm-hmm.
I start to work.
Mm-hmm.
I never get a credit card. I don't have, and it means the assurance it will be higher.
You will notice that when you go apply for your car finance, one of the first things the people will ask you is, do you have any other credit? And they will encourage you to tell you, before you come for this car, go take a small account, like a Edgar's or a something, before you come for this car. But if you insist for this car now, what they're doing is they're charging you a higher interest rate. Where I would normally pay an interest rate of prime, which is what, 7%? You are being charged 14%, 10%. And because we're not questioning it, we're just thinking, oh, I got the car, you're actually paying double of what you're supposed to be paying for the car. The only reason they want you to have that credit card or that Edgar's account is to see, is this person reliable? Does this person pay it on time? Does he pay more or less? Or is he taking a credit card, spending 40,000 Rand on it and only paying the minimum? Because that's what we also do. Credit cards can be the best thing you have, and it can also be the thing that holds a noose around your neck for the rest of your life. I do a lot of medical doctors as my clients, and we do a lot of education in that 5th final year, 6th year. You know, banks love medical doctors. Do you know that? They love them. Not like now, after 15 years as a doctor. No, not now. When you just graduate and you go to a bank and you just give them that paper that says you have a job, they love you. They will give you a credit card. They will give you an overdraft. They will tell you how you can drive a RS35 and you don't have to pay the first installment until June. They love you. Why? They know that you're guaranteed an income for the next 2 years. And what they do is they give you debt double your income. They love you. Paying for the okay, let's take the example. You bought the car, right? You go on the first medical, who's medical medical intern, medical doctor? Anyone? No. Okay, so you pass your exam in end of November. By the 1st or the 5th of December, you get your contract that you're going to start in a hospital, right? But you're only going to start on the 1st of January. But by the 5th of December, you got your contract, right? You go to the bank and you show them that I got the contract. They give you the car. Let's just take a simple car. They give you an i20, brand new. You drive out of there on the 5th of December. But they're asking you only to pay for it on the 1st of March, right? What's happening to that car when you drive off the showroom? Meaning depreciation. So you're driving a car that's depreciating every single month. You bought a car of 200,000. You're only paying the first installment in March. What's your debt in March? 200,000. No, your debt is the interest in December, the interest in January, the interest in February, plus the full amount. That's what you start paying in March. It's not free. If you take a credit card and they say only pay they give you 31 days. You know, take your credit card and you swipe it. They say the first 31 days is free. Do you know that? Tax free, tax free. And then you pay, so you took 10,000 Rand, and then on the 32nd day you paid 500 Rand of the 10,000. You owe now 9,500. Are they calculating the interest for only the 1 day or the 32 days? Banks are not your friend. They're making money out of you. So then why are you not negotiating how they make money out of you? Shame, I think I've depressed you guys. And you can pay tomorrow. Pay your debt first. Always pay your debt first. Before you start to think of savings, pay your debt first. Think about it. You open a savings account with FNB called Just Save or something. You know, that savings wallet. How much interest do they give you if you put for 10,000 Rand there? How much interest they're giving you for keeping the 10,000 Rand there? Say 3%. Say if you're lucky, 3%, right? For keeping your 10,000 Rand there. But if you borrow 10,000 Rand from them, how much interest are they charging you? 10, 15. So again, let's go back to how I said the bank is making money from your money. You put the 10,000 in their account, they give you 3%. They take your 10,000 and they lend it to me, and they charge me 10%. I pay 10% interest, they make 7%, and they give you 3%. On whose money? Your money. I am saying, no, I am saying that you need to negotiate your terms with your bank. I am saying that if you have a credit card of 10,000 Rand and you have 10,000 Rand cash, instead of putting it in your Just Save account, pay your credit card. Pay your debt before you save in the bank. If you're thinking of saving, look for places that are going to give you a better interest rate than just saying, I'm saving. Because there is saving and then there is investing. If anybody can answer this question, I'm going to give you this prize. How much if you're working, how much emergency funds should you have saved? Available. What's the amount, the right amount for you to have in your emergency fund? Do you have 2 to 3 months salary saved for your emergencies? What's emergency funds? What do you use for emergency funds? What's the emergency? Yes.
In case I lose my job, in case COVID hits again, and I don't have any income, just to help me on my feet in the meantime for me to recover.
That's an emergency. The emergency is not when Aldo has a shoe sale. If I'm understanding you, you're saying that the income you are earning is not enough to do the normal things. So how do you save out of your income? Is that what you say? I would say this. If you've done a budget, you'll have money to save. And once you've done your budget and you said, well, actually, I'm eating at KFC 4 times this week. If I cut down twice, I'll have 2. What was it that time? That's 3 twice 2. 2 of that as my money. I'm paying myself first. If you have a budget, guys, more than likely you are going, if you're earning 10,000 Rand, you'll probably spend 9,500. You'll have 500 to spend, to save. You'll have it. There's no way. And if you're working every day and you're earning an income and that money is not allowing you to live, then why are you working? You're not even taking care of this is your asset, this one. I am sure of it. I think you must sit down and you must plan with your financial advisor. Write down what you're spending on. Yes, dear? Yeah, student loan is one of the big problems for youngsters for debt, combined with I need things, I want things, and I feel educating you on how to spend your money. I have seen students getting NEFAS student, that stipend. I've seen students getting NESFA stipend and taking that money, using it for their clothing, for their education, and still saving. It's a mindset. And I always say that, unfortunately, it's one of the things that a black child in South Africa and Africa struggle with. It's a mindset. We are not being taught how to take 1 Rand and spend it wisely, that we have 10 cents left in our savings. Savings doesn't start when you go to tertiary or you're getting a student loan or whatever. We should start teaching our children to save from the first time we give them spending money. As a 5-year-old, remember, the older people remember the piggy banks we used to have. Remember those containers that we'd piggy bank? We used to have them. It'll be what I'm spending, your church money, your offering. We had a piggy bank for your offering, because that's how my mother taught me. You needed to tithe from the 5 cents you got. And then your normal budgeting. You had to have 3 piggy banks. We have to go back and say, we can't be living the way we're living to our last cent. If you are earning an income on the 30th or the 25th of the month, and by the 2nd of the month, you are broke, we have a problem, guys. We have to go back. And debit orders can't be the be-all and the end-all of our lives. I see a lot of times the statuses, on WhatsApp statuses. And especially if the first is on the second, or on a Saturday or on the Sunday, you'll see the WhatsApp status, but you can try. We'll see on the 3rd if you can get your money. No, guys, no. Let's get into the habit of spending our money wisely. Student loans can be managed. Once you get your job, you can go back to the bank and renegotiate the terms of the student loan. Do you know that? Do we do that? Why not? Are we afraid? Or we don't? And the other thing is that we get into the habit of not opening bills. How many of us don't open our bills? Bills, the bills that comes in, we used to come in the envelopes in the post, now it comes on our emails. And we go past it. We go past it. We don't want to tell our minds, this is what I've actually spent. But if you get into the habit of reading your bill, you'll start teaching yourself how to spend wisely. If you go through your bank statements every single month, around the 5th or the 6th of the month. Make it a habit. You'll know how much money comes in and how much money goes out, and why is so much money going out. Our biggest problem for us right now is that when we used to have cash, you know, if you gave if I took my wallet and I gave you 1,000 rand each, 1,000 rand hard cash, and you went into the supermarket, do you know you'll keep checking twice before you spend that 1,000 rand? You look at this price and you look at it again and you're like, oh, maybe I can go next door. But when you start swiping your credit card, it's like tap, tap, tap. You don't care about whether it's you spend 5 rand more or 5 rand less, it's tap. And that's our problem right now. So we don't even know whether we've stepped into overdraft because it doesn't say declined. It just allows you to keep spending. Spending. And you need to become a little bit more, think about your overdraft again. Think about it. Do I need 60,000 rand overdraft? Or maybe I should reduce, and you can, by the way, you know, you can go onto your banking app and reduce your they give you 60, you can reduce it down to 10. Nobody's going to fight with you. Nobody's going to cancel your debit order. Just reduce it to 10 or to 5 or to 1. Because why are you spending the bank's money? Our parents used to tell us if you don't have it, you must go without. Remember, if you grew up back in the day, that's why, how old do you think I am? My mom used to say, if we don't have, we don't have. But now it's a case of, well, I don't have, but I have a credit card. Delayed gratification is better. Saying I can save up for it as opposed to paying for it. Some of the best people to save for debt are us, our community. Do you know how we love our Stockvelds? Hey? We love our Stockveld, hey? If we said we're doing a Christmas Stockveld, we pay it diligently because in December we're getting our Stockveld. Why have we not thought about that for our student debt? Create a community within the church or within your peers. We are all in the student debt. Let's create a Stockveld for the student debt to pay it off. Think about it. We're very good. The African community in Africa in total are very good in crises. Have you thought of, do you know, we have started the concept of crowdfunding before it became a thing, crowdfunding. Do you know that? African community, we crowdfund. We crowdfund for everything. We crowdfund for so-and-so's wedding because all the aunties come together and they give the 200 and the 5. That's crowdfunding. We crowdfund when there's a funeral, whether it is by the box of pasta we drop off or the box of biscuits, we crowdfund. So have we not thought about crowdfunding in our own way? Stockveld that can pay our student debt. Because paying off a lump sum of 100,000 is better than paying 100 or 2,000 rand. And we can rotate it. If there's 10 of us, we've 10 started a job in each, and we all put 10,000 or 1,000. It's 10,000 rand that I can. There is many ways in which we can get out of the hole. Look, we are not legacy children. I always say that you and I are not legacy children. Our great-great-grandfathers didn't die and leave a will that was read in some library that said, I will inherit so much of money from a trust fund when I get to 25. No, we're not those children. We have to dig ourselves from the hole that we already find ourselves in. And it is possible, but we don't have to have what we call ostrich syndrome. That just because I'm in the hole, I have to remain in the hole. I know a very good writer. His name is Max Moyer. And he used to teach, used to have seminars for my medical doctors. And he used to always say to them, guys, are you buying the car for you? Or are you buying the car so that somebody can say, look what she's driving? Are you doing your hair for you? Or are you doing your hair so that you can take the perfect picture? So a lot of the times we get into debt and situations not because of so and so, but because of me. I did it. I decided when I walked into the mall that I needed to leave with 5 pairs of shoes instead of 1. I only needed 1. Right? I only needed, but I decided that I wanted 5. So 2 months down the line, when I have to pay the Edgar's account, which is now sitting at 1,700 Rand, and the shoes are no longer there, but you still have to pay it, whose fault is that? My fault. And all the people that are offering you credit cards and rewards cards and loyalty cards and buy food on credit and buy this and buy 2 for 3. How do you love that Woolies thing when you walk into Woolies? They say you need 3 for 2. Did you need 3 for 2? No, but did you need the 3 blocks of cheese? Did you need it? Is it going to last you though, or is it going to be like moldy in 3 days time? Did you need it? Because how many of us go to the mall now with a grocery list and tick it off and say, that's all I needed? Do you know during COVID, let's be honest guys, we saved a lot of money, right? Hey, didn't we save a lot? Why did we save a lot of money? Because they made us stand in queues to go into Checkers. And when we got to Checkers, we were so tired, we just bought what we needed and we came home. We didn't go pushing trolley to aisle. Oh, I think I need that, put that. Da-da-da. No, we were rushing because we would get COVID and we came home. Did we die? Were we hungry? Was our cupboard still full? Yes. COVID's over now, so we have to go with the more 3 for 2. I need 3 cans. You did it. I need 3 of those vegetables. You know those packed vegetables in Woolies? With us women, I'm going to diet from tomorrow, so I need the 3 vegetables. And then you come home tomorrow and it's like cold, so I'll eat the pap today. I'm going to start on Monday. The 3 vegetables got rotten. Penny wise and pound foolish. And don't worry, guys, I'm not leading you off the hook thinking that only the women are shopping. You know the things you buy that you're not supposed to buy because you don't need it. You only needed the 1 white shirt. You didn't need 5. You only needed the 1 good shoe because the other ones are collecting dust. So if you come together as a couple, if you sit tomorrow together and decide 5 shorts for this boy who's growing up. I know my son I'm buying every 3 months. So why are we buying 20 pairs of shorts? He's only going to wear the 2. Your financial wellness is lying in your hands. If you put it down on paper in form of a simple thing called a budget, you can be able to save money, pay off debt, and still live comfortably. We would all love to win the lotto. We would all love to. But it's not in our plan for all of us to win the lotto. But it's within your hands right now is to decide on, this is what I've earned. Let me spend within it. And if you feel right now today you are already over in debt, it doesn't mean that tomorrow by just writing it down in a budget it's going to wipe out all your debt. Take your biggest debt. And that's the other thing. List all the things you owe, right? In 1 column. I owe my car 400,000, my installment, and next to it, guys, please find out what is the interest rate you're paying for that. Yes, ma'am. If you can afford everything, a home, a car, if you can afford it cash, why buy credit? So a credit card, as I said, it can be a blessing and it can also be a curse for you. If you have cash, it's a credit, or most check accounts right now can work as a credit card. You don't have to go and apply specifically for a credit card. Yeah, it can work. They call those fusion cards now, where they give you debit and credit together in one card. If you have the money, you obviously know we have to live in a banking system. So you have to have a card in some form. If you had a credit card, this is what I say to my clients. If you have a credit card and you want to be able to use your credit card, take your money from your check account, put it into your credit card, swipe your credit card, but you're swiping your money. Okay. We've put together just to wrap up the whole session, we've put together a little booklet for you. And if you could go through it, this booklet contains information that a lot of us keep in our heads, like our budget. And when something happens to us, we find that everybody's scrambling, trying to find where that information is. If you go through it, you'll see that it's asking you for things like, who's your financial advisor? Who's your private banker? What's the contact number? Our youngsters love having many social media pages. We just like to know that if you could please put that information down. So if something happens to you and for some reason you pass away, let's close down the social media pages. Because why is it like a family trust that's there in perpetuality and you're no longer there? Let's close it down. Having your email addresses and the various passwords to enter the email addresses. Do you know how often banks still continue to send you emails even when you're dead? And then when you go and query it with them, they say, but no, I sent the email. Yes, to the person who died. Nobody's going to read it. If you put the information down in this booklet and leave it, it's like your will, your living will, and leave it with your husband or your wife. At least we have the information if we need it and we can access it. Going through this booklet, you might figure out, oh, actually, I don't even know who has my DSTV account, or it'll help you to go through your financial plan and make you re-look at how many cell phone contracts you have, how many internet pages you've opened, rather close them down and you can put your life together here. Okay. Anybody knows what season we are in right now? No, not from the weather's perspective. We're still talking finances. What financial season are we in right now? What's the biggest thing that should be happening? If everybody in this room is employed, yeah, no, I'm not giving you the present now. Who can I give the present to?
It depends. Let me see.
You can give it to someone else.
Okay, no problem.
Second thing, if you have any kind of policies, please revisit. What's the main thing that you need to be adding to your policies? Policies, insurance policies, life cover, retirement annuity, pension fund. What's the main thing that we need to be re-looking at? Every year at least. Guys, who's your financial advisors? I'm going to fire them. How often do you review your policies? How often are you supposed to review your policies? Every year. Thank you, Kathy. Every year. Every year. Every single year you need to review your policies. One of the main things you have to have on your policy is a beneficiary. And a beneficiary must be somebody if you died tomorrow, is able to go and open a bank account in South Africa. You can only get paid that money in a South African bank account. So if you decided to buy a 5 million rand policy today and you made your beneficiary somebody who's sitting in Congo, what's the likelihood of that person coming to South Africa tomorrow, going to Standard Bank and opening a bank account? If you don't have someone.
Residing in South Africa, access to a bank.
No, we're not SPCA. You have to have then a will as well that says this money is going to be paid into my estate. This is what your will say. The money that is in this policy, Old Mutual, will be paid into my estate. When my estate is being wound up, this money must be sent to so and so in Congo. Doesn't mean that that person's going to get that money soon after you die. It's going to follow the process. But if you had a beneficiary, that money could be paid out within the next 2 weeks with no problems. So please have a beneficiary. Please don't make your children who are 5 and 6-year-olds beneficiaries of 5 million rand life policies. Please. Don't make your children who are 5 and 6 years old today beneficiaries of your 5 million rand, 2 million rand, 100,000 life cover policies. Why? They are not 18. They cannot open a bank account. They cannot get the money in their own name. So the money will have to be paid to a guardian who is the next best person. It was not your intention, but that's what will happen. They will wait until they are 18, and where would the money be until they're 18? Who will keep it? Which bank? In whose name? In whose name? In whose name? So, John, you died tomorrow. Your son is 5 years old. Is he going to sign the application form to get the money in his bank account that you've opened for him? Let's think about it. It would be nice, but it's a no. Correct. 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 One of the things that you will see when you're drawing up your will is a question that says, what happens if you and your husband simultaneously die within, like sometimes it's within 30 days of each other, but simultaneously? There's a clause there that is inputted that any beneficiary who is under the age of, who is a minor, there's a clause that allows the master of the court to open a trust in the name of the child and manage the funds, but that's only taken care of in the will. If you don't have a will, then it's the guardian, and it's the guardian that is around who's going to say, this is my nephew, I'm the guardian, his father promised that I will have him. You don't know whether he can manage 5 million rand for the 5-year-old until he's 18. He'll be driving a Porsche tomorrow. There's no law that says he has to know. I don't have to tell anybody in this room that I've made you the beneficiary in my policy. When it comes to any policy, all policies except a retirement or a pension fund, you can nominate anybody to be your beneficiary. You can nominate the SPCA, like the ma'am said. You can nominate your neighbor. You can nominate anybody. But when it comes to your retirement money, which is your pension fund, GEPF, retirement annuities, that decision is made by the trustees of the fund. So you can say, I want my sister to be the beneficiary of my retirement annuity. When you die, the trustees will first evaluate who was financially dependent on you first. And if your mom can prove that she was financially dependent on you and not your sister, the money will be paid to your mom. So it will override your beneficiary nomination. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Yes. Yes. The will is very flexible. You should review your will at least once a year. You should review your will every single time something notable happens, like you have a new child, you get divorced, you buy a new property, or if one of your beneficiaries passes away, you have to review your will. There's no point in having somebody who's going to be the beneficiary and they've gone. So a will is reviewable as many times as you want it to be. Everybody offers free wills, so it's not a cost. Anything else? Yes. So your intention was that I was in the car with you, right? And you made me your beneficiary. You passed away and I passed away. Your money goes to my estate. My beneficiaries inherit your money. So my estate, I have a will, and my will says all my stuff goes to my husband. Your money will pay into my estate, and my estate will pay my husband. And you nominate a beneficiary. So say you applied for an old mutual policy today, you wrote her name. She didn't know that she was your beneficiary. We get notified that you died. We will make every attempt to contact her. The company would contact her and say, you are the beneficiary on so-and-so's policy. Please submit the necessary documents. That's when they find out. Okay, we have a lot of money at the moment lying there without being claimed because there's no beneficiaries. I have had many, when I used to work for Old Mutual, I've had many cases where you would get a certain person coming with the death certificate to the claims office and saying, my uncle, my brother, or my father died, and I think I'm the beneficiary. And you're looking on the system and you say, give me your ID number or your ID, and you look at and you have to say, I'm sorry, ma'am. Thank you for bringing it to our attention, but that's as far as it goes. So we are by law, you take a policy through me, I'm a financial advisor, she's my friend, you make her your beneficiary. By law, I cannot tell her that she's your beneficiary. I cannot give her any document that says she's the beneficiary. Even you can be married, your wife cannot contact me and say, I want his policy. I cannot provide that information to her unless you give me written permission. That's the law. So we are not allowed to tell anybody, you are beneficiaries on so-and-so's policy, sort something out, you might get something. No. Okay. Yeah, it should be done together. It's always, I always say, I'd like to meet husband and wife together and discuss finances together. But for some reason, if you guys decide on I don't want her to know what I got or whatever, I have to just go with what my client says. I can't give that information. Okay. Thank you very much. If there's any other questions, Kathy has my number. I've got a questionnaire that I'm going to give you to complete, please. And yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who participated. I'm sure we learned something this evening. We really bless you, Mrs. MBAYA. This was really informative. And as she was speaking, there was, remember we are still in church, eh? There's a scripture that came to mind. The scripture says, then Jesus said to them, watch out and guard yourselves against every form of greed, for not even when one has overflowing abundance does his life consist of or is derived from his possession. So this verse says, watch out and guard yourself from wanting more things, because the life of your life does not depend on the possessions that you have. This is what Jesus was telling his disciples. So as she was speaking here about budget and everything, the word contentment kept coming in my mind to say we need to readjust and live within our means.